Sabadi, and good morning, everyone. My name is Bryan Thao Worra, and I'm a Lao Minnesotan poet here in Minneapolis, in the Minneapolis Central Library. Thank you all for joining us. Today it is Saturday, August 10th, and we are doing the next part of our programming for the wonderful Laomerica 50 Democracy and Diaspora exhibition, which is an artist in focus conversation. We have gathered together with us two of our wonderful artists who have contributed to the exhibition with their artworks. We are hoping to hear from them today to talk about their process, their stories as artists, and what it means to them as we start to mark 50 years in the United States as a community, and also what we would hope for the next generation to take away as lessons about why the arts are important to our lives, the lives of those around us. And I guess we'll just start to do some introductions here. So on my left is Tou Her, and also in the center is Ladda Insixiengmay. And I think I am going to hand it off here and let you, both introduce yourselves a little bit about what is, where are you based out of, and what is your art style? And then we get into some more detailed questions.
Hello everyone, my name is Tou Her and I'm based out of Big Lake, Minnesota. I have been an artist for 20 plus years now, but recently in the past 5 years I've just worked on my own stuff as an independent artist, trying to promote the Hmong culture and Hmong heritage to the next generation so that we will not lose it within the first two generations being Americans. And so my artwork reflects our journeys to the US and our history from China to Laos. And I just hope that everybody can be inspired to learn about the Hmong culture when they look at my work, and do some more research on their own to connect with their roots.
Hello, my name is Ladda Insixiengmay. I am a Lao weaver. I learned this art form from my mom, and I started when I was 8 years old in refugee camp, and so I have always been practicing this art form, and it has taught me so much in terms of my culture, because I left Laos when I was really young, around 4 or 5 years old. So, and my mom, she always instilled in me the beauty of Lao culture and Lao traditions through her weaving work, and then she has helped so many people through her art, even during our stay in a refugee camp. She had helped set up a Lao weaving school through the Japanese Volunteer Center, and there she taught me and many other young Lao women to weave and earn money to buy medicine and food in refugee camp, so that with that executions and determinations and to help people even in a dire situation, for them to take pride in their culture and to live with dignity, even though we were labeled as refugee. And I did not even realize that I was a refugee, because what she had given me at that time was an environment for me to grow, to focus on positive things in life. So at that time I was feel so, even now, I feel so grateful for what she gave me. That means a sense of dignity and pride in what we can do as a human being, even though we suffer. But she made me feel like that suffering, instead of thinking of it as a suffering, it should be a garden, flower garden for us to see the beauty in life, no matter where you are, and to learn and grow, and to always she instilled in me to always dream high, and her art and her also, I mean, I learned from that to have empathy. I learned about love and empathy and compassion for all beings. So with that, we can build a stronger connection with other people when we have empathy and love and compassion, and I want to continue this weaving art so that I can be more helpful to my community and help others learn about how beautiful our Lao culture and tradition that we have, so that when we live here from this earth, the name of Lao people can also be up there as people that make this world beautiful, and make this world peaceful, and make this world have more opportunities for even the most suffering, so that they can have hope and continue with their life with loving heart. So and I had that opportunity with my mom's help. I was working at the Lao PTA. Now it was Lao Advancement Organization of America. I started there since the establishment of that organization, and I wear different hats. I was a van driver to drive my student around to perform, or in the state of Minnesota, like Festival Nation and university. And so at that time I taught close to 300-400 students per year, from elementary school to university school, so that they can celebrate Lao New Year and their Lao traditions. And and then I also taught Lao traditional dance, and of course the help my mom with the weaving program, and so a sport coach. Whatever I was able to contribute, and whatever I feel there's a need, then I would do so. Even a little bit, it's okay. So thank you.
Well, that raises a lot of really great questions and puts a lot of our sense of history into the conversation that I'd really hoped we'd be able to have today, because I think many in our younger generation and even in the adult generation don't fully appreciate what has gone on. That as we do our conversation about democracy and diaspora, we want to talk about what it means to have tradition, to have memory. And that is tough for a lot of the members of our community, especially when they try to remember stories about being in the refugee camps. That I think the Lao tradition is also one that takes on the Buddhist ideas of being in the present moment, not reflecting too much on the past, that you hold on to it, that it becomes, I think the American term we like to use these days is toxic, that that we have to find a way to just move forward on that. And yet, I think once in a while, when we do exhibitions like this, when we do shows like this, we can also take stock and say, this is the kind of journey that we haven't taken before. That if you look at the big history of the Hmong and the Lao, then who would have imagined that we would, maybe we would have thought, maybe we'll go to India someday, maybe we'll go to China, maybe we'll go to other parts of Asia. But to cross an entire ocean and to be in a community like this, and also to not have access to a lot of the traditional materials that we would have. I assume that it's not too easy to find silk just the way we would find it in Asia, for example, nor the traditional berries or the other substances that your mother initially preferred to work with when she was taught. I depart a little bit on that, but I think about some of the stories when I was working as a writer, talking with the elders, and they would tell us, for example, just even the simple things that we have to find substitutions for. That, for a while you could not find papayas, to make the tamakun, the papaya salad, for example. And people were experimenting in the Minnesota and the Midwestern grocery stores with anything they could. Strawberries, cucumbers, rutabagas. It's like, the range surprises us then. And so maybe that's something that we should talk about today as well, is not just all the old traditions and all the old techniques too, but what are the things that have excited you most, that you see the most opportunity for here in the US, then the exchange of ideas, other artists who are meeting from other cultures? What's been the most interesting to you?
Well, I think the idea of diaspora and democracy is, as a Hmong American, I have noticed throughout our history that we probably have one of the longest diasporas, since as far back as the Han Chinese in China. And so I don't know about how long your diaspora has been. Is it from like the Vietnam War or not? But you guys have always been there. It's your country. But as a Hmong American, our diaspora goes so far back that we can't even trace it anymore. And so all we have left are oral folklores and traditions that are passed down. But it's been so long that we can't separate fact from fiction. And so a lot of it is unknown, but what we can take away from that is that we have traveled through many different types of communities and cultures, and have sort of absorbed and integrated where we have been to continue to grow the Hmong culture, I guess. We don't really have, a idea of what is truly Hmong, because we've been surrounded by so much of these Asian culture that now as we come to America and experience the freedom to pursue whatever we want to pursue, changes. It also changes us to reflect on what it means to be in a government that allows us to have this freedom of speech and the rights to explore our passions or to talk about things that were not really allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people have started to come out and go into politics now because they are given that choice to speak and to represent the community, and I guess that's really important for us to see and to acknowledge, so that the next generation can also follow in our footsteps. And so, as a visual artist, they always tell us that our visual voice has the power to move people, because a lot of people are visual learners, and what they see can inspire them to move, to do things beyond what they know. And telling these stories about the diaspora and the struggles, I hope it can help the next generation to move and to shake the world up. We could never have imagined through our own diaspora that we would end up in all over the world, because it's not just the U.S. that we came to. We went to Germany, went to France, Australia, the French Guiana.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're almost on all the continents.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just want to say that we are in so many parts of the world. Yeah, we still retain that the cultural heritage that connects us all, and we should lean on that because we are more than just Asian Americans. We're global citizens,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the responsibility to keep all these traditions alive through either poetry, literature, or arts, so that our kids and grandkids don't forget about it, and to not let it disappear from history.
Talking about democracy, because we come from a country where we don't have that, so it's really hard for our people to understand that they have freedom of expressions in any form. And I have to give example again. I refer to my mom's work. She doesn't talk much about her past or even criticize anything. What I learned about, like I said, when I was in refugee camp, I did not even realize that I was a refugee until I was in high school, and I learned about Vietnam War, and then I saw this picture of kids lining up for food, and I was one of those kids, and that day I was looking at the clock. I want to go home and ask my mom. I was, refugee, which it doesn't matter because, for me, but I just want to know if I was labeled as that by others, or refugee kid. And it helped me appreciate my mom more, but I wish that she can express more about and tell me more about my country. What I learned is basically mostly from textbook. Sometimes those textbooks could not do justice to the actual experience that refugee people had to go through and endure. And I learned a lot of people, they basically they record their history in the woven fabrics, and some they wrote it on the wood paper. For my mom, she recorded her story and her dreams, her inspirations, her aspiration in her weaving. For example, there's a piece where there were plane and bombing and people. So she's recording the story of the war in her fabrics. And there's one piece that there's a bird which I learned that it symbolizes peace, and there's a house, little house, like a traditional Lao house with windows and then people holding hands. So it's a dream for all of us in this world to live in harmonies and have peace. And family is the most important foundation for every society. So she's reading that. And there's another piece that's portray her journey of our beautiful country, Laos. There's like a rice field, all green, to symbolize the prosperity and growth. So her piece, even though every time I want to learn something, I go back to them. I always find new things that I can learn, new symbol that's hidden in her fabrics. So with that, I strongly believe that any art form can teach people. We can learn from it, and it helps us become wholesome. And being wholesome, we can move forward successfully in any field in our life. And then with so many Lao refugees, I feel when they were separated, they had to flee from Laos. We were uprooted from all things, and then coming to a new country, a new world, they had to learn new language, they had to learn new culture, and for them, when I work at the Lao PTA, I can feel the suffering, a sense of tiredness in their eye, because every day they have to venture out to something new that they always wonder if they belong, if they go to work, if they belong there, if they are being accepted, if they're being respected. And that's why I'm so grateful for our elder um, who created the center, a place where people can come and learn or share or and gather, so they can get this, so they can rejuvenate, and then again venture out and feel equipped or feel they are worthy of contributing to other community, to a larger community, that we can bring. I think as a human, when we're able to help in some form, we feel worthy of being here. We feel worthy of being somebody's uncle, somebody's mom, somebody's sister, somebody's dad. So by teaching and sharing any kind of art form, and then helping others to become wholesome, they can, I strongly believe, contribute to our community and to a bigger community, and even to this world. And but again, because of our culture also, it can be a hindrance to cross, to understand that even now that they're here, they can express themselves verbally. They don't have to hide. They can say their mind, speak their mind, but what we can do as an artist is already great, and I truly am honored to be a part of this exhibition. And I have also told my mom, and she feels so grateful to you, Bryan, and to the group who organized this, and to who has been working so hard to shine light on our culture, so that not just for other community to see and appreciate, but for our community to realize what a treasure we have. And with this treasure, we can make this world a better place, and they can make themselves and feel worthy as a human, and then find within themselves what can they do for this world. They can ask themselves when they see example. It's like, I know how to do this, and I can share. And when they share, that part of that sharing can really make a difference in other people's life. So even a smile, I would say, you can save that person's life. So, and much less the art that really can, that holds so much story in it. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, these are some really heavy thoughts to sit with here, but I do want to say that that resonates with my own experience as a writer and as a creator. Then I often think about Milton and Paradise Lost, where this is his big book that he wrote right after the Civil War. And one of the things about it that makes it so significant was that as he's trying to find the words to talk about what he went through, but not directly talking about it, he realized there aren't the right words in English yet. So he had to find the courage to invent new words. And some of these are new words that stay with us into the present day. Phantasmagoria, for example, and a number of words I won't get into, but the very functional point I think about it is that when I look at your mom's work and the topics that she chooses and you choose as well, that your mom takes on topics that, 100, 200 years ago, we would never have thought of creating a piece of art based off of a White House. We would not have taken on seemingly modern subjects then. That's part of what I think is the great freedom of expression then, is that we have that tension of, as they say, freedom of speech isn't always to protect the speech that we like, but to protect the speech that maybe it's hard for some people to hear it, but they still need to hear it, they still need to see it. Then, that when I look at my own poetry, that it was oftentimes I look at a piece and I just go, I understand that there's probably someone who's going to be upset by one piece or another of the way I take it, the way I interpret that history. But it's also similar to an old Chinese phrase that essentially is, you toss out a brick to attract jade. But if you don't like my art, then please tell me, teach me what the correct idea is. I may or may not agree with you in the end, but I do want to hear it. Or else, even better, create your own. That we have been in conversation with the traditional dance troupes in many states, including Seattle. In particular, I remember they were asking, how do we preserve the traditional Lao dances? And I'm going, it's not just about preservation, but to reimagine it as the conversation. But yes, we have been doing the Fon Ling, the Fon Manola for decades, if not centuries. But now the question is, this is our generation, and now we are becoming the elders. We are becoming the people who live in a world of robots, a world of computers, a world of new neighbors and new conflicts. Then the question is are we going to create new dances? Are we going to create new patterns that speak to that? And the fact of the matter is that we think about it like the Wright brothers, when they invented the world's first airplane, technically built the world's first airplane. But no one had ever built an airplane before. But once we saw that the basics could be created, and we were able to go on, and we kept making improvements, and now we have a whole sky filled with airplanes. One of the things we have in our exhibit that reminds me of the power and the potential within Lao art and Southeast Asian art as a whole are the images that were drawn by the villagers in central Laos of the bombing by the Americans. They didn't have formal art training. No one took them aside and gave them the class, this is how you draw like Picasso, this is how you draw like Rembrandt or Michelangelo. But they needed to tell their story. They needed to share what was being asked of them. What did you go through? What did you experience? And in drawing these simple drawings, when you look through them, very crude. The colors are off in some instances, but facial expressions don't necessarily look right, but you can still tell, this is a monk, this is a young child, this is a family that is being attacked. And That was enough for a visitor with an NGO to see something's going on here. I have to go see for myself what is going on, and he did, and it revealed Operation Barrel Roll, the secret U.S. campaign that was bombing Laos during that period. And he brought it to the reporters brought it to the attention of the world, and that forced the United States and the other international parties to come together for the Paris Peace Accords in January 1973, and they had to work out the agreement of, now we're going to stop the bombing, and we're going to start getting ready for America, at least, to really be out of the war. And some, of course, will have their opinions about was that right, was that wrong, but it still marks that history point for us. But wow, these little Lao villagers just changed the world. That this is the end of the war for the Americas. Now Vietnam will have to figure out its fate. Laos will have to figure out ours. The Hmong will have to figure out where they go next in this process. Cambodia as well. Everyone had their lives changed by just a simple action like that. I mean, sure, the pictures aren't the only thing, but they weren't a small part either. And we have to believe in that power of us, each individually, to change these things. When we talk about memory, I often use the metaphor for my students about seeing memory as two different types of cheese. American cheese, where it's like, that nice orange solid cheese. And then refugee memory is more like a piece of Swiss cheese. The reality is, I think all of us here can agree that in an ideal world, we'd have everyone who could just teach us everything we want to know, tell us the story from beginning to end. But that's not how it goes. That's like, when I started doing my interviews, I realized, there were relatives I lost before I even had a chance to know that I would want to talk to them. I just hear of them as whispers, as ghosts in the story. Then, like, you had an uncle, then, and it's like, it's too bad what happened to him. Well, what was? Tell me more about the uncle. It's like, and why can't we? It's like he was just a good guy, and you get those vague ideas, and it's frustrating. And as artists, I do believe that the Lao artists have this challenge in democracy, in our diaspora, to try to figure out how to navigate that and to say, sometimes it's a loss, and then the other times this is liberated. It is the opportunity for you to express your freedom, to find that empathy you were talking about and say, okay, I can't ever necessarily know who my uncle was, but I can meet someone else's uncle and talk about their uncles and so on, and maybe I can start figuring out what he might have been like. And that's not bad either. You start discovering these things. But in that, this is where I think I'd like to have us take a couple of minutes, Ben, and talk about maybe whatever things that you wish that you had access to, or whatever it's like, in weaving, in the visual arts, especially as Southeast Asians in diaspora, whatever things that you'd most like to have resources and knowledge to, or that we just don't seem to know what's going on with all of that. Does that make sense?
It's a tough one, Brian.
Sorry, it's like, we've got to make this worth it for everyone in our lovely audience.
Like you said, we are Swiss cheese because there's lots of holes in our memories and our, even speaking with our elders, even they don't remember as much anymore with the time, and everything gets pushed around in their heads, and a lot of them don't like to share their personal stories for some reason. Even growing up, my parents didn't really tell us about their life in Laos and their journey through Laos as they were fleeing. And the only way we got those stories were when we were bad kids and got lectured, just to hear about their struggles to bring us here. And I wish that I would have talked more with my parents while they were here to actually learn about their lives growing up, because it seemed like it was such a different time. They were all farmers and they just lived a normal life in their villages. Yet with the war that came in, it disrupted everything around them and shifted their whole way of life with the introduction of technologies that they have never seen before. Airplanes and artillery that can decimate whole countries. I remember hearing a story about a pilot who was picking up people and helping them travel around the countryside back to their villages, and he's like, why? He came to pick them up, and he was like, you guys have been here for like so many days. How come you guys just didn't walk home? And they're like, well, because we knew that you were coming here, so why should we waste that energy when we can just wait for you to take us in your airplane? And he was like, okay, I guess they're used to the idea that somebody will come and ferry them to their next location if they just wait long enough. It's stories like that you don't really hear too much of, because they don't share that anymore with the next generation. Like as we come to America, our parents always told us to be more American, to learn the American language. And now we're like, hey kids, you need to learn Hmong so that you can learn about your history and your culture. But they're like, sorry, we're just American now. And they don't want to, I guess, travel down that lane, because we don't also have that memory anymore to teach them how our parents taught us. It's all muddled within our mixed lessons growing up in both cultures. We have that dual identity that makes it hard to connect to either or. And I hope that through the exhibitions we can come through and see that the different world that we came from and the world that we live in now, we can take the best of both worlds and try to create something new, so that it is not forgotten. And to, like what you were saying about the art forms changing with time and introduction of new technology and stuff, it's important to have that to create new things. Yet we need to also remember that using the old things that we've sort of heard about and learned from our elders, if we keep that alive and don't change it too much, that can also help preserve some of the legacy that has been around for so long. I know that everybody likes that quick instant gratification with the new technology of the digital arts, but
intelligence.
It's sometimes the work by hand is what is really it shines more, just because a human has touched it. And so that's something that we have to be mindful of as technology changes and the art changes and the world changes. And I think that we also have this responsibility as the elders now to help mold the future to something that that can be everlasting.
Where can I start? Could I ask you?
Oh no.
Since I feel the question is very difficult for me. From your experience and your opinions, how would you answer that question?
I mean, we see the reports that, for example, in Laos, we see the reports that there are at least 7 styles of Lao weaving that have been identified in Laos, and yet we also know there's also, over 160 ethnic groups and minorities in there, not to mention those where it's just, Chinese who happen to be living in Laos, Thai, Laos is a very cosmopolitan country in many ways, for example. But even still, what I'm thinking of when I see the weaving description and the journey of the weavers, then is just, how are you doing the exchange of information? It's like, do you sense that there's one particular tradition that's dying out faster than the others, for example? Or are there teachers that you and your mother would really like to study with sooner rather than later to get the information on?
And for me, I think you talk about opportunities, right? And then how can we use the new technology to make something new, and I agree also, and I also agree with you. But when I feel that we are the younger generation, right? I still consider myself young. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I still, maybe I was so spoiled by my mom, so I'm still a baby. I feel like we need that foundations, and before we can embrace new things and create new things, because we want to, for me, I want to share my culture. So if I'm gonna create new thing, I need to be able to know the history, to learn, to master this weaving of weaving art form. So when I incorporate new technology, they still see my new work. They still see this tradition that I bring, and I basically am happy to see all this advanced AI and all, and because I think with that we can use it to advance our work even further and far more reaching. Like for example today, right? We have the YouTube, so people can all over the world can see what we are, can hear about our work and our traditions, our passion and idea, creativity, and so on. So I strongly support, using new technology to create traditional work. But it should not be the one that dominates, and erase the form of the art or the idea of the art. And we should use history not just a window to the life of our past or our mom or the elders. the history should also be the key to the future. And for me, I feel so blessed that I get to work with my mom every day. And like many elders, most of them, or all of them, they don't talk, like I mentioned before, they don't talk much about their past. That's due to so many reasons. Maybe they don't want to remember the pain, or maybe some of them suffer post, what's it?
Traumatic stress disorder?
Yes. Because I have worked with many patients too as an interpreter. And when we mention about mental health, they don't want to talk about it all, because in mental health, the definition don't really exist. It would exist as a crazy, right? So when you talk crazy, they don't want to talk about it. So that's a challenge for a lot of medical providers. And but my mom, each of them, I believe, have their own form of outlet, For my mom, I believe she put everything in her weaving.
Right.
So, and I'm glad, I'm so happy. That's why working with one's hand, I agree, it brings so much happiness. When it's, with my weaving work that I do, this art form is a complete synthesis of the mind, and it's a development of characters. And because as I weave and use my hand, I can feel the contentment, the calmness by doing that. So, so I think the process really helped build one's characters, and I'm so grateful for my mom and how she was able to transfer this art form to me. Even I'm not really like, how should I say, against it, because sometimes when you have to sit in the room, you kind of, and then I remember in the camp, going back again, why I did not feel like I was a refugee, because my mom, in her wonderful way, now that I see, my day are scheduled, were scheduled, Monday to Friday. Maybe she was a teacher too, so she knows how to deal with students. So I would learn Lao traditional weaving, and then she would have someone come in to teach me Lao traditional dance, and then she would hire someone to teach me Lao and Thai language, and then she would have another person teach me English. So my day is full. So sometimes in the camp, every day when I sit in my room, I would see my friend play outside. And I wanted so bad to go out and play with them. But I had to follow the schedule. At that time, of course, as a young person, it's like, you kind of feel like, why? Why me? me why, but I know now why. And and when I came to United States after school, she would give me Lao skirt to wear at home. So, and okay, you know, I was pretty obedient, said, okay, I'll wear this, you know, but, you know, training if I can go out and play with my friends, you know, or watch TV, and we always negotiate and exchange, you know, and then day by day I feel more comfortable and feel proud to be Lao and to learn that, you know, this is not just the Lao skirt that I'm wearing. It's the my mom's teaching me to be understanding and to have empathy and because I think she's very kind of very open-minded, and she always see years ahead. And so when she, the elder, established the organization to teach kids and keep them from gangs and violence, and they have Lao language class, Lao traditional dance, Lao weaving, Lao sports, cycles, and tennis. So I was able to help these kids see the importance of their own culture and feel proud of themselves and be able to go out there, perform in their own school, perform at the festival nations. And so looking back, my mom was preparing me to be able to help our community, to help kids. And she did not just have a vision for me. She had a vision for all Lao children everywhere. And with that, I forever extremely grateful to her. I would not be sitting here without her guidance and her teaching me. And I agree with both. Any opportunity, any form of technology that can advance our traditions, I will embrace it greatly. So I thank you.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. I think what it makes me think, and I'm reminded of a lot of things, and this is why I love being in conversation with my fellow artists here at this table and with many others, is that sometimes we forget to talk about our process and what the arts mean to us and how we came to it. I came to it in so many different ways, but I often tell my students, an artist has 1,000 beginnings. You can't really pinpoint one moment. But for a writer, is it the first book you read? Is it the first time you write a poem on your own that the teacher didn't assign? Or is it the first time that you write a bad poem and you say, I'm still going to write another one. It's like, but I'm just going to keep going at it. But for me, so much of my art was exploring this idea of that and coming to terms with the idea that our lives tend to be filled with so much chaos, so much uncertainty, especially for refugees and immigrants. Where are you going to be staying the next moment? For example, what's your next job? Where are you supposed to be? Where are you supposed to be? Where are you supposed to be? For 10,000 questions, a refugee always, and an immigrant always gets saddled with here. It's like, are you earning your place? It's like, all that. It's like, but I find myself saying that, but when I take the time to suddenly set a blank sheet of paper in front of me, open up a computer screen, whatever it takes, then all of a sudden, you know what, for however long I decide that this is going to be my scheduled time to write or to create, that brief moment, I suddenly have control of my entire universe out there. Everything that I put down, it's by my choice, by my idea. I see the gaps of, okay, here's what I know, here's what I don't know, here's how I know how to express it. But one of the things that I have tried consistently to encourage for Lao community programs all across the United States, and I think it was difficult, was going up against a certain mindset that said, whatever you do, don't stand out too hard. Don't be too weird. If you're too weird, you'll get ostracized, you'll get stigmatized. No one will want to work with you. No one will want to help you, which of course in the arts we both know, it's actually when you create something that no one else can get from anywhere else that really helps you move forward. But I think a lot about an encounter I had doing an interview with a nonprofit organization in Columbus, Ohio, a while back, and must have been the mid-1990s. And what he said about how he designed the program was, we put our art training community centers, after-school programs for the kids, not just in high crime areas, but the highest crime areas. And I'm going, whoa, okay. It's like, do you want to talk to me about why you're doing that? And it's because he says, when you're dealing with young children, when you're dealing with youth who are the future of our community, then as they're trying to get away from bullies, from gangs, or whoever, they also don't necessarily have the emotional response sets that a mature person has. That's literally what it means to be a child or to be a teenager, that you're still sorting things out about how you react to things, for example. So in creating the arts and giving them these opportunities to work with not just one art, but many different art forms, to just find what you like. It's kind of like, okay, someone's picking on you, someone's trying to beat you up. Okay, you know what? Instead of finding a gun and reaching for it, or getting ready to knock his lights out, or something like that, is it possible, you know what, I'm going to chill out and I'm just going to listen to my favorite music. I'm going to just do a dance that works out my feelings. I'm going to write a poem. I'm going to sing a song. I'm going to paint a painting, whatever. It's like, suddenly you give that child 5, 6, 7 different options rather than just run away or respond in the worst possible way that changes everyone's lives for the worst. It says, it's a risk, but it is worth it. And it's like, no. And that been good with me, especially as I look at how many of our youth are falling through the gaps, how many of us don't graduate school and everything else like that. But I will say, and maybe this is something we should talk to, is that I'm pretty sure it's like, none of us quite, when our peers, our classmates saw us taking so much of the arts into our lives, but it, the family, even the family responses may not have been as supportive as we would have liked. But you want to talk a little bit about that?
Man, making me dig deep into the history here. How did I come into this profession? I, growing up, I always liked the arts, inspired by the pop culture that was going around that time with comic books and cartoons and stuff. It really, opened up my imagination to the possibilities out there of being an artist. But then I was also pretty good at school, I guess, and my parents had this plan for me to, be a doctor or a lawyer, of course. And so, I was sort of on that track all the way up until senior year of school. And then I started reading a lot of like science fiction, fantasy novels, and got really into that that world building that is involved with that, and it helps me to sort of escape from the that time that we were growing up in the 90s, you know, with the gangs and the. I grew up in a small town of about like 30,000 people, and so you know, in such a small community, you have that racism and that prejudice that is not spoken out loud, but you know that you can feel it in the undertones wherever you go, and so you know that sort of affected how I grew up and how I developed with my psyche and all, because you don't feel like you fit in when you go out into public. So you sort of have to create these personas that will maybe let you fit in, but they really don't, because you know you don't look the same, and that perception will always be carried with you because just by virtue of how we look. And so you know I started creating characters in senior year and thinking about my own experiences and how I can tell stories through what my characters felt, and making up those stories helped me to say, hey, you know, there could be a possibility of me going out there and creating stories to that other people can relate to, because you know it's not just such an individual thing that just happens to me. You know, there's lots of other peoples that this has happened to. And so I thought that I would go into comic books and make a comic about my experience and my characters and share it with the world. And so that's where I made the decision to tell my mom that I did want to go to Madison for college. You know, I wanted to pursue the arts, and
I bet you loved that.
Man, when I told her, it was you could see death in her stare, or you know, you could see it. You know, all the hopes and dreams that was placed upon me just fell. And oh man, that's I'm still heartbroken. After all these years of telling her. And so I was like, you know, I know that it's the safe route to go do what you have planned for me, but will I be fulfilled as a person? Will I enjoy that life forever? Probably not. So I made the decision to pursue my own goals and learn how to tell stories and how to, I guess, be a visual teacher, you know, to teach through my drawings and paintings. And, you know, 20 years later, it's still a struggle because the arts is hard. And there's, without community support, it's really something that a lot of people take for granted because they think it's easy, but it's really not. And so, yeah, 20 years later, I'm finally, you know, doing my own thing as an independent artist, where you rely more on the community to support your endeavors instead of going the commercial route, where you have to listen to other people and change your ideas to fit their mold. And so I think I want to tell my stories, not their stories. So being an independent artist gives me more freedom to do that, to reflect on my own journey to be an artist, and to tell the stories that I want to tell for the community. And I know it's something that a lot of people can relate to when they see my paintings or my drawings, because it comes from a place that is genuine. And it, you know, the first time that I did a painting and somebody said it made them cry, you know, that's something that you you wouldn't really get it if you became a lawyer or maybe as a doctor because you saved their lives. But it's something that I think all creatives really want out of their profession is to bring tears or emotions through their work so that others can learn and grow from it and be okay with themselves. I think it's been more fulfilling for me to see the reactions to the work instead of being cooped up in your studio and not seeing people's reactions and how they can react to what you're birthing into this world. And so I still want to continue to share my stories and continue to tell new stories that will integrate more of our history and our culture so that it can reach a wider variety of audiences. We gotta do something with our freedom of speech, and even though, like you said, people don't agree to it, well, keep an open mind. You don't have to agree with it, but you just have to listen and empathize with it, and know that all experiences are not equal, and that it's maybe it's not for you, but it is for somebody else, and be it whatever profession or creative endeavor you do, it will connect with people. And right now, for the younger generation, I think that connection is what we really need to show them, that we are still there and we can give them valuable knowledge and insight into life. And it doesn't happen just on a tablet or a phone screen. Life is out there, and if you disconnect from that, there's such a wonderful history and richness to it that you can, grow and be one with the world. So yeah, that's part of why I wanted to continue art and pursue art. Even though it is hard, there's still a path for it, and I hope that this inspires other people to pick up, writing or a paintbrush, or even bandao or weaving, take all that and grow into a better person so that they can contribute to the next generation.
For me, my mom never expect anything. Never say, oh, you have to be this, you have to be that. So I'm quite fortunate. She just want me to learn, and of course education. She mentioned that it's very important. In any field, she would support me. So I never had the pressure to learn the thing that I don't want to. For weaving, it just I think I saw what she did as long as I remember, and how powerful this weaving, this art form is for us and for our younger generation. As I truly love this art form. It's my work. It's my cocoon. Sometimes in life we face with challenges, daily work, and problems. We all have. But because of the weaving, it served as my cocoon to nurture me, to allow me to see what is the purpose, the higher purpose in life, beyond making money to pay bills and so forth. So this weaving, it's truly a life that I can create for this world, and I can create something to help our younger generation to, like my mom did for me, to learn about love, empathy, and compassion, not just for other people, but for themselves. So, whenever I have the time, I would jump into the room and be in this world of mine and vision something better for today and tomorrow, and always be grateful for our past, bad or good, because even bad experience, I think the bad experience teaches us more for the good, because when we're so happy, we forget our purpose in life, our higher purpose in life. But when we have this, when we have bad experience, or when we experience suffering, we tend to be more creative and accepting. One of the most powerful things my mom taught me through her work is her infinite weaving is the divinity of this world, which is birth, and then you grow up, and then death. We all gonna face it, one time or the other. So with this in mind, and how her work reminds me of this divinity, the definite in life, then you realize what's important. When I create something, I never question. I think my mom taught me that. If it's weird, it is gonna be weird, or people gonna accept it or not accept it. Whatever we create, I feel, writing, drawing, or any art form, no matter how other people might look, it's just gonna be, for me, I feel that treasure that this artist or this individual, this person create, that coming from them, that this time span that they create, they're giving it to the world. So that's precious, because time we can never buy. If this artist create this and share with the world, that's a gift. That's a treasure that we should feel grateful about. So I never quit question if is this gonna be real or anything, because this is from my heart, and this is the art that I can share. Again, I think beauty is in the eye of beholder, right? So you can control what other people say, but you can control what you create, what you express, what you want to give. So if they don't accept it, that's the loss. So, so yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
Wow. No, right. Well, I think about, let's see, Joe Hyams and Bruce Lee were having a similar exchange at one point, and one of the things that came up is time is a great sheet unfolding, constantly unfolding, and once it's fully unfolded, it's like, that's the end, and you never get it back. And I think you are absolutely right that Bruce Lee was always talking about the idea that, you know what? Yeah, money, objects, all these, it's like, even friends and relationships, those can come and go, but time is what you have to guard, because it's like, you can't let people be thieves of your time, Ben. And it's like, and you should try to be, Ben, involved with things that are most authentic to you. I think I always feel fortunate as a poet that, at a very young age, it became very clear to me that you're a writer, and that, it kind of felt like being trapped behind enemy lines, to be, really frank, growing up in, Michigan and different parts of the country then. But in that process, it's like, they don't know what a Lao person is. They don't know what in Michigan in the 1980s, the Asian American community wasn't exactly the most popular out there, and it's like, and I found out, I kind of discovered, it's like, it didn't matter if I dressed like a slob, if I dressed up in a 2-piece, 3-piece suit, for example, if I spoke perfect English, or if my English was imperfect, it's like, all of that, it's like, it kind of didn't matter. It's like, there were going to be kids who were jerks, and then there would be friends that you make, kids that also loved you, teachers that supported you in back, and I felt fortunate about that. But I think that's what I would want the next generation of young artists emerging to feel confident about, is, as you look at it, I think we're all agreed here. You can't go into the arts in our community in the US, kind of like the Instagram community today, all the influencers, all the hustlers and everything else like that. But then your career is going to be very short. If you bring the arts into your life as a way, this is my career, this is my job, this is what I'm going to get paid for, then you know what, it's like any MBA is going to tell you, it's like you're wasting your time and you're not going to last. But for me, and I see it with both of you too, this is just now who we are, in a lot of ways, who we were always going to be as artists. And I think deep down, you've always known that. That doesn't mean that it's not without challenges, and that, yes, it's like, it's wonderful to be paid and there, but we would all be creating our art, whether or not we were compensated for it. It gives us a sense of our identity. It connects us to our community. It helps us sort through things in such a positive way. But let's see, I think we're about to run down on our time here, so why don't we close up with some thoughts here from all of you. Can you tell us real quickly about your piece that's in the exhibit, and also what you would advise for an artist who wants to follow in your footsteps?
All right, for the exhibit, I have 2 pieces. One is my book, Diaspora, talking about the Hmong experience with the folklores and how we came to be in America. And it's just short stories about, oral folklores that we grew up hearing at bedtimes. And I think it's a wonderful primer to Hmong culture, and it's an easy read for kids who have interest in learning about their roots. It's not too heavy, so anybody can pick up it pretty quickly.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
So how long did that take you?
2 months.
Making it look too easy too.
Yeah. It was 2 months of work. It came about so fast that it was a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like everything lined up at the exact right time for it to come together, and the reception to it has been awesome, because I think nowadays everybody wants to figure out who they are and represent their culture, because as you get older, we start seeking who we are. That youthful outlook of immortality sort of goes away.
Just a little.
And so, sharing these stories helps a lot of people connect with where they come from, because they have forgotten the stories or never heard the stories. And, that's one of the best ways to learn, is to have a visual representation and a literal work to guide you in researching. My other piece is called Temptation, and it's just about our folklores with the dragons, and how they have a dragon's pearl that you can find, that they leave out for you. If you're willing to take on that risk of using their powers for your own personal gain, whatever your heart's desire, you can get that, but only for a set amount of time. And after that time period is up, the dragon will come back for you, because you have used its power. You are essentially going to be taken with them and leave this world. And so that story was based on my mother-in-law, who, she said when she was younger she had seen a dragon's pearl, and she didn't want to pick it up, because the stories you hear of people having that power. And so she turned to ask her dad if she should pick it up, but when they looked back, it was gone. So you get that one opportunity to be tempted, and so do you take it or do you not take it? And that's, I guess, human nature in general, right? Do you take it or do you not take it when the opportunity is presented to you? I think these lessons, even though they are folklore, they do carry some weight into how we can apply it to this world. And do we take that risk and change our lives, or do we continue on the path that we are on, even though it's slower? It may outlast the risk that you have taken. And so I hope that the people that see it and connect with it, they can know that it is that the way that you choose to live your life does have importance, and it does have meaning to the people around you. And if you want to pursue a life in the arts, you have to jump in, both feet first. You can't do it, halfway, because it doesn't really work out, and people can tell how genuine you are with your work. It is a reflection of you, and if you want to be an artist, just be able to connect with your audience through your work, with the authenticity that that only you can show, you know. So if you want to do it, put your whole heart into it. Don't give up, because it is a lifelong journey. You know, you don't instantly wake up and be viral, because you know the virality goes away. So you know, you have to constantly create. Every creation is a struggle, and so the key is to not give up. You know, keep going. Do it every day. Don't take a break. Otherwise, you'll fall behind.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, everything that you do has to encompass your work, and it has to be full of passion, so that you know, others can see that. So others can see what stories you want to tell, and it's only through hard work that you can work as a independent artist. You know.
The work that I brought for this exhibit is called Love. It's the ikat work, weaving. Ikat weaving is tie-dye. We call matmi, or in Lao traditional word we call pu mi. So that's another word that's older than matmi. So we could Lao, you know, Lao people would say, my mom would say matmi, not matmi, but she would say pu mi. So I learned Lao old language too from my mom. And this work is a dedication to her and to her love for others and her support. In Lao we always say, oh, you know, เป็นห่มโพมใส่ให้คนเด้อ that means be the banyan tree for people where they can come and sit under, you know, during hard day, or when, you know, have trouble, they can sit and, you know, and got the shade. So that's why I created this work to honor her as my mother, and also as a wonderful human being who selflessly give to others wherever she goes. When she was younger, they would call her sister Bunsu. As she get older, Mom Bunsu or Auntie Bunsu. Now she is much older. They call Grandma Bunsu in our community, you know. Grandma Bunsu, Grandma Bunsu. So people know her because of her love and her, again, her empathy and compassion. They can feel her sincerity for them. That's why all these prefix, you know, like grandma, it's given automatically. It's it's an honor when people call you grandma. So she's teaching me this, and that's why I want to portray that in my work, and to remind myself that to always have love, have empathy, and have compassion for self and other. And I think that's what makes the work beautiful. When you have that in you, and everybody can acquire that, and that's why art is very important. So I would support any person. They can go to take on any art form and learn about it, spend time analyze, dissect, like study to the, everything about it. Things take time. We can learn. Even me right now, so even though I started when I was 8 years old, I think I even learned before that when I was little, getting the silk on my head and all so forth, getting in trouble with the loom and pulling out the pattern sticks from from the hairs. Or maybe I got spanked or something for that. But things take time. Even now that I'm older, in the eye of others, for me, I'm still learning. I'm still learning, So it's a lifelong learning, but never give up. You have 1 minute, okay, think about it, be obsessed, about it, and have passion about it. So whatever you do, not just art, I think when you're so obsessed and passionate about things, and then you become that thing, and then people will see that, this is, this is genuine. This is what the artist trying to convey, and this is the treasure that they can spend time looking or admiring, or that they can use as inspiration to make their life better. And then when they become more, they can make other people's life better. So I just want to pass the message to our young generation that whatever you pursue, any art form, just go for it and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I destroy a lot of silk and cotton in my life.
There's a lot of mistakes.
Sometimes I have to use this paito, I don't know what it's called, the butcher knife. Sometimes I'm like,
oh no.
But that's part of learning, and just enjoy it while you can. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Wow. Thank you everyone who's been a lovely audience here. It's like hopefully, hit like and subscribe, as the kids say. But, all right, again, thank you. I feel like this has been a conversation with a brother and a sister that I've been meaning to have for a long time with all of you here. And it's like, I wish you all success in the next stages of where we go from here. For those of you who have a chance to see the exhibit, it is up until September 27th, and then afterwards we're looking into possibly finding opportunities to display more of Tou and Ladda and Bunsu's work elsewhere in the community, and just keep an eye out for us. Thank you for being a part of our diaspora, and I hope this has been educational.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.